Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to day number 4 of our Kwanzaa celebration for 2022. Today, we talk about Ujama, collective economics. We talk about pooling and collecting our resources, our financial resources together for the better good of our communities. And this makes just so much sense. This makes so much sense. And one of the realities that we have to realize is that this concept of supporting one another, we've talked about it throughout the week. Where I started off day number 1. Of course, Pastor Delroy came in strong with day number 2, passed away last night with his powerful presentation. And now here we are, day number 4, where we would light the 4th candle of Kwanzaa. Thanks for joining us as we jump into Ijama. The idea of Ujama, collective economics, and I really would like to lean into what this word actually means. The words come from the Swahili language spoken there on the continent of Africa. It literally means familyhood. That's what it means. It means familyhood, where we collectively work together. And so I went to the Kwanzaa website. I want to read directly from that website about what today's principle, the Nguzu Saba, the seventh principle, this fourth one, really means and what it communicates. It says this: the fourth principle of Ujama, cooperative economics, is essentially a commitment to the practice of shared social wealth and the work necessary to achieve it. Ujama literally means familyhood and suggests the sharing of work and wealth in the manner of a family. And so when we think about this idea of what family means in cooperative economics, we're talking about how we would share as a family. Now, for some of us in our lives, you might say, I don't really share with my family like that. I don't really connect with my family in that way. Well, I think we all have an idea of what it should be or what it could be when we share with one another, when we connect with one another, when we don't allow one another to suffer economically, and we don't have this disparity between haves and have nots. We all try to uplift one another. One of my good colleagues, Dr. Andrea King, would put it this way. She would say, a rising tide floats all boats. In other words, when the tide rises, all the boats that are there in the water rise as well. Everyone benefits. Everyone is successful. Everyone is able to sail a bit further or perhaps even get out of the harbor when the tide rises. And so it talks about this. It says that sharing wealth is another form of communitarian exchange, sharing and cooperating in general. But it is essential because without the principle and practice of shared wealth, the social conditions of exploitation, oppression, and equality, as well as deprivation and suffering, are increased. Now, let's just think about that for just a moment. When we look all around, we can see that there are people who are living in just challenging and deplorable conditions. Just in San Bernardino, a few months ago, there were families that were living in dormitories that were not fit for families to live in, that were really struggling, and the conditions were absolutely deplorable. What would happen if we pulled together as a community, as humanity, to try to support one another cooperatively instead of having this mass disparity between those that have and have not? Here on the Kwanzaa website, and perhaps you can go there, the official Kwanzaa website, you can read exactly what it is that I'm reading here right now. And I love what it says here. It quotes the president of Tanzania. Ujama is based on the assumption of human equality, on the belief that it is wrong for one person to dominate or exploit another. and on the knowledge that every individual hopes to live in a society as a free person, able to lead a decent life in conditions of peace with his or her neighbor. At the end of this idea of cooperative economics, it means that we all live in peace together. We all support one another. We all uplift one another. We all support one another. So I want to challenge you to this. This isn't a new concept. As a matter of fact, in the early church, we find that there is a command that those that don't have much or anything, that they support one another. Early Christians, they talk about the reality of how people had things in common, where they worked together, where everyone succeeded and was taken care of by one another. No one was suffering, no one was struggling, and people were in peace with one another. This idea of cooperative economics also calls on us to go and to support. Now, Kwanzaa is a celebration of the African American community here in the United States, and perhaps even around in other countries as well, specifically bringing principles from Africa. As I shared earlier, the Nguzu Saba, one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And this is important because frequently within Black communities, there's lots of income that comes in to our homes and to our communities, but then it is not always shared once again within our communities. Something that's uh, really great about the idea of us being able to go and to support one another, to support businesses that are shared, that are Black owned, to be able to share and support one another so that we can do well. Of course, we know that in the society and the world that we live in, we support the businesses that meet the needs that we have at the very moment. But when possible, let's reach out and let's support those that are trying to make a difference, to do something good, to do something well. Those that are part of our Black communities, trying to support what it is that they're doing. There are many people who are in industries of fitness, that are in industries of selling merchandise or apparel. Those that are doing food and are in the businesses of food, that are all over the place. With just a little bit of work, we can help and support them with our dollars. We know this, that all throughout the United States, all throughout Southern California, and even the United States, there are opportunities, and there are many different companies that are they're fighting for your dollar. But we know that when we support one another, we help one another build up our communities. And when we all do that together and collectively, we can live at peace with one another. We can live better lives with one another. So I encourage you within your communities, and maybe that can be within your church community, that can be within your city community. We know that there are big corporations that are out there that don't always support the mom and pops. I'll share this last idea with you. Have you noticed that there aren't as many small businesses around the area, that the options that you have seem to be getting smaller, not just because of the pandemic, but because there's huge companies that are dominating the space. Now, I know that for me, I use some of these big corporations because of their convenience and because they have access to so many different products. But I also have had a keen eye toward the idea of helping the little guy, helping the small business, because I like being able to help them do well. There's some intentional choices that I've made to support those that are within my city community, to try to help them so that they can survive, so that there's additional options. And I've made the same choices when it comes to businesses that I know are people who are Black, who are African Americans, who are here, that are in business, that are looking to try to do the very best that they can to survive. And I've tried to seek them out and support them as well. Wherever you may be, I think we all have an opportunity to engage in Ujamaa, cooperative economics. So, as you think and dwell on this fourth principle today, how can we work together economically to be able to rise the tide, to raise the tide, so that we all can be even more successful in this life that we live? God bless each and every one of you. And as we look around to one another and we see each other and there's something that we can do to help, let's cooperate. Let's become a unit. Let's be a family. Let's help and support one another. Ujamaa. Ujamaa. God bless you all. And we'll see you tomorrow with day number 5.